If you're doing long-term residential property management, short-term or vacation rental management, HOAs, condos, commercial, whatever type of management you're doing, there's likely a gap or exclusion on your E&O policy or errors and omissions coverage for one of the top claims for property managers. That means that you likely don't have coverage for that. So let's dig into that today. My name is Jonathan Lugo at FirmSecured, and we help property managers and real estate firms nationwide on their errors and omissions coverage to make sure their coverage is what they think it is and what they need it to be. So today we're going to talk about one of the biggest exposures and claims for property managers, but that's usually excluded, or there's a gap for it on their errors and omissions policy. A lot of the policies out there have this. So what is that? And that's bodily injury and property damage. Let's define a little bit more about what we mean. So say, for instance, that you're a property manager and you either hire someone to install a railing, fix a railing, or maybe you do it yourself. And 2 weeks later, a tenant or even a property owner is using that handrail, say it's on the second story, this is a real claims example, and they fall from the second story. And they sue, and they survive, but they've got, say, $500,000 in medical bills, bodily injury damages. And so they sue you as a property manager for professional negligence in the performance of your professional services as a property manager in installing that handrail or in hiring someone to do so. And so what the claim is it's a bodily injury claim, right? Somebody fell down, they got hurt, injured, sick. Say that they allege that you didn't disclose mold or lead or radon or asbestos in the home, and that resulted in illness, or again, some sort of issue with, falling down, slipping on, slipping on something on the sidewalk like ice or handrail, or even on the property damage side of things. Maybe there was a leak due to a pipe issue that wasn't fixed fast enough. Maybe they say you didn't respond to their requests within adequate time, or you hired the wrong person, or maybe made a mistake yourself on a small issue that could have been fixed without a license or a permit. Anything like that, where their stuff is damaged, they're sick, or they're injured, that's a contingent E&O bodily injury and property damage claim. Now, a lot of people might say, well, hold on, is that a general liability claim? And the answer might be surprising, and that's actually, there's an exclusion in your general liability policy that says there's no coverage for any claim arising out of the performance of professional services. And professional services, of course, includes property management services. And so that's where your gap is, where your general liability might not cover those claims, but here on a lot of E&O policies for property managers, they're actually excluding coverage more and more for this particular area and saying for these bodily injury claims, for these property damage claims, when you get this E&O claim, we might exclude it altogether on property management policies. Or we might say, we'll give you $25,000 of coverage, or $50,000 of coverage, or maybe if you're lucky, $100,000 of coverage, and then that's it. And so that's where this exclusion lies, where one of your top claims as a property manager might not even be covered under your E&O. So what can we do? Number one, we can help you read through your current policy, dig into the details. Oftentimes this is on page 30, 40, 50, buried into the details of your policy. And so we can help you read through it, see what you've currently got as far as coverage here, if there's a sub-limit or a lower amount of coverage, or maybe if it's excluded, or maybe if you're good to go and you have the coverage that you need. And then secondly, we've got an access to an exclusive program. We've worked directly with the carrier to negotiate full limits of coverage here for property managers and real estate firms on contingent bodily injury and property damage E&O coverage. And so what that means is basically you've got the E&O coverage there as long as you have a general liability policy in place as well to pick up any lawsuits that might be more on the general side of things, general business lawsuits. You also have your E&O policy as well that covers it, so you're well protected if one of these lawsuits were to come up. They're hard to prevent. Of course, you can do everything in your power to prevent it, but at the end of the day, there's really nothing you can do to prevent someone from alleging that their bodily injury or their property damage resulted from your professional negligence. And so at the end of the day, you really want to make sure you have a good, solid E&O policy behind you to protect you if you have one of these lawsuits. So feel free to reach out to me. I've got a link to book time with me here in the description, or feel free to go to FirmSecured.com, or my number is 423-777-6684. Any of those, get in touch with me. I'd be happy to walk through your policy and see how we can help.